Well, guys, I understand the struggle. Wanting to get your little ones out into nature and experience creation in a whole new perspective through potentially doing multi-day backpacking trips so that they can see what this world has to offer from a different perspective than just the car window or a quick little, mile hike. And you're struggling to figure out, how do I, carry all their gear? How do I carry my gear and make the experience fun for them, and also not make it just brutal for me carrying all the gear and equipment? Well, I may have a solution for you with the pack we're going to be looking at today, which is the KELTY Glendale 105 liter KELTY pack. Now, I bought this past spring because my boys are 6 and 8, and I wanted them to start experiencing multi-day backpacking trips with me, with my dad, who got me into backpacking, and just get them into that experience. I felt like they were ready, but they were not ready to carry their own sleeping bags, their own pads, all their gear, food. They're just not big enough to do that and get to the locations that we wanted to go to. And so I was looking around trying to find a pack that particularly like from a brand I was familiar with, and that could potentially carry the loads and the size of bulky, like kid size sleeping bags and stuff that we had for them. And I came across this pack. And now, having done a trip with them, but then also used it for a multi-day backpacking trip that I did with a bunch of buddies up in Wyoming, which was a blast. I've had about 7 days of trail time with it. I had it loaded down with about 50 pounds of gear, both with the kids, but then also when I went with the guys, because of all my camera equipment. So I've had a really good chance to see some of the pros, some of the cons, and I'm just gonna unpack the entire system with you. The 60 to 65 liter packs just really aren't cutting it, and you need extra size and potentially more load capacity. Well, this might be the solution. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Aaron. This is Gideonstactical. Let's go ahead and dive on in. Now, when we're looking at a pack that is kind of purpose built to carry larger, bulkier, potentially heavier loads, we really have to first and foremost look at its capacity. How does it carry that capacity? And then the comfort for you, the user, when you're on trail. So the capacity itself of 105 liters is the largest variant. That's why I went with it. Now, if that seems a little bit too big for you, then there's an 85 as well as 65 liter variants in the Glendale series. Now, the great part that really stood out to me right away is the load capacity of 45 to 75 pounds is what this is designed to be able to carry, which most other bags usually tap out at 50 pounds. Like, they're kind of designed for 50 pounds or less. This can go 25 pounds more than that, which is quite a bit when you're on trail. Now, that is done with its aluminum frame, which is actually it's a tubed frame, but it's on the exterior of the bag. So it is a very rigid system, which carrying 50 pounds, I noticed the difference in the ease of carrying that much weight. It's still a heavy load, but easier than some of those other packs that are basically maxing out at that weight. Now, the yoke itself is really well designed with a lot of mesh. It is dense. It slides up and down on the aluminum rail, and that allows you to adjust it really quickly on the fly. It stayed where I wanted it, and it's designed to fit torso lengths from 15 to 21 inches. I'm right at about 21 inches. Fit me, and even had a little bit of room to spare, and I got a pretty big torso. So the load lifters do their job well, and then the shoulder straps themselves are nice and thick. They have the kind of mesh along the side, so it's not going to bite into you. And I really liked the 2 pockets on either side that are designed to not only carry like bear spray, but you could easily put like a medium-sized water bottle or other items in those with shock cord. And then the sternum strap on track, which I prefer ladders because they stay in place, but these didn't slide around, and that really went right across my sternum, doing exactly what it was supposed to do. And then the way it's designed, it actually has a good flow through system right there where the air can just go to your back. So it's one of the more breathable large packs I own. And then going down to the waist belt itself with a lot of adjustment points, rigid polymer in the waist belt, and then dense mesh all the way around. It was riding on my hips like it should, and putting the weight there and distributing the weight to where it needed to be, but it wasn't digging into my hips and causing pain and problems. Now, on the exterior of that, they also have 2 pockets that are nice and large, easily can fit my smartphone, even an exterior kind of stash pocket, and then 2 larger pockets that you can put a lot of different supplies, snacks, hand off to your kids, when they're hungry or whatever. And then the clip itself pulling towards you. It's a pull towards tightener, which just makes it way easier to really cinch it down, get the load where you want it, and then be able to transport it where you want to go. Now, as we start looking at some of the more detailed features, one thing that really stuck out to me are these mesh water bottle pockets, because you may be having to carry, you know, a lot of the supplies for the family. These are massive water bottle pockets, easily able to handle two like full-size Nalgene's side by side. You could do tripods, you could do you know, long guns, bows. I mean, there's a lot that you can fit inside these pockets, along with the secondary cutout on the side that if you need to, you can just pull a water bottle out and then put it back in, and they even give you the loop so that it won't just fall out if you bend over. Now, as we're going along here, I'm sure some of you guys are like, what the heck system is this? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is my hard side hydration system, and it gives you all of the convenience of a water bladder with that hands-free access to your water, but it adapts to your favorite rigid water bottle, in this case my 48-ounce Nalgene, and that's why I'm stoked that they are today's sponsor, because for the last few years I've been sharing my experiences with you guys with this system, and Dane and Dustin, the founders, have really gotten this idea dialed in, giving you quick access to your water, but now your water can be on the exterior of the bag. It means you have more space inside for important items. It allows you to see your water level a lot easier and then refill a lot easier than if it was buried inside and you'd have to strip your whole bag apart to refill your system. So much so that the majority of the guys on our recent backpacking trip to Wyoming were sporting some version of the swig rig and have left behind their, you know, integrated hydration bladders that they've used in the past. Great small business based right here in America that has come up with a solution that many of us on trail have been looking for years. So I will have a link in the description box below, and it's also popping up right now where you can hop on over to their site, start exploring all the different features, accessories to really help you get dialed in on which system makes more sense for you. And I also will be including in the description box my exclusive 10% off promo code that you can apply towards your purchase. Now, with such a massive bag, you may want to get to certain items and not have to literally dump out the whole bag. Well, you have several options and access points to do that. Now, on one side here, you have a massive winged pocket that goes down about 2/3 of the way, giving you huge access. You could easily pull a sleeping bag out of here, and this gives you access to the main compartment. And there is a little mesh pocket on the side that could handle medium to small items. If you just wanted to grab and pull out, you know, you could even stuff like several, you know, granola bars, snack bars there for your kids or significant other, and easily access it and then zip it back up. Now, on the opposite side of that is a secondary pocket that actually does not give you access to the main compartment, but has a pocket that goes all the way down to the bottom, as well as a secondary pocket stage that will hold small to medium items, which is great when you have kind of thin, long, narrow items like folding saws, survival knives, tripods, monopods. You can easily fit those in there, raincoats even, and it's not going to get mixed up with all the gear on the main compartment. Now, finally, on the bottom are 2 zippers, and all the zippers are YKK, which is excellent. Good durable zippers for access to like your sleeping bag or other items down there, and the whole floor will zip out. Now, there is no divider. Some bags will come with like a divider for your sleeping bag. There's no like false floor in this bag. And as we rotate around, you know, lashing a lot of gear is a potential with this type of bag onto the exterior. And I'm really thankful that this not only has a really large mesh pocket right here for raincoats, different things that you can really just stuff in there and grab and then pull out. I look for that in the bag. If it doesn't have that, I'm probably not going to be carrying it. So it has that. Then it has some staged ladder system with good stitching that you can put carabiners, lash little things to. And then you have your loops for like climbing axes, again for, you know, different tripods, different things like that, just to keep them from swaying around. And then you have a clip system on the bottom where you could absolutely do bed rolls or a tent, and that's where I carried the tent the first time with my boys, and that just made sense because of how much space was being taken up with their sleeping bags and some of the other gear. So you could absolutely, that was a 3-man tent, could easily fit on the bottom and attach it that way. But I carried that same tent when I went backpacking with the guys in Wyoming, because I was sharing it with my brother-in-law. and I could fit it on the top with that extra strap and loop and then put the lid on top of it, and that actually was a better balance system. So if you have the space, it's better to actually have that up there. It felt a lot better when I was hiking versus the weight down there at the bottom. Before I touch on a few other important points, let's talk value, what I paid for this bag. And as I was checking prices, I saw that there were a bunch of sales going on over the Labor Day weekend. So all the link popping up right now if you want to go explore those, and those links will also be in the description box below this video if you feel like the Glendale series is fitting the bill and it's what you want to start taking on your adventures. Now, thankfully, I got it on a sale back in like May. And I think I paid about $225 for that. So like $225 to $250, I feel like is a reasonable price for the 105 liter. The smaller ones are obviously going to be cheaper. The MSRP is like $280, which I feel is like a little steep for the design, since there's nothing super technical. You know, it's not using Dyneema. It's not got some crazy, you know, ultralight system or something like that. And if you start going over $300, you can start getting yourself into more technical packs that might have like higher build quality stuff. So if you can score this for like $250 or less for the full size 105 liter version, I think that you're getting a good value. Now, the top lid is massive. I don't have a size literage for us, but it is massive. You can fit tons of gear, survival kits, med kits, your raincoats, all of that in there with that secondary mesh pocket with a key keeper for your keys. Appreciate that. You can throw your wallet, you know, all that stuff in there. You can unfeed it and completely remove it if you want to cut down on some weight, or use it as like a secondary organizer pocket pouch at camp. You can even figure out with some lashing options to use as like a little day pack to go exploring, you know, hit a peak or something like that. I would say it's probably a 15-liter pocket pouch up there. Now, as we go to the interior, now when you open up that collar, you do have a water bladder sleeve. If that is something you would prefer to do, you can do that. Should easily be able to handle a 3-liter, has a little hook, and then has 2 ambidextrous ports that make it easy to run hoses if you would prefer to do that. Again, my personal preference is having the hard side hydration system on the exterior, and I'm not worried about that, those bladders leaking on all my gear inside. And then it's just that giant pocket with some access to those different little mesh pockets on the wings. So in conclusion, that is the Glendale series, and I do believe it is one of the better viable options for us dads to be able to get our kids out there and start exploring in a brand new way, because it does provide a level of load bearing, quality, and comfort at a relatively inexpensive price. You know, we're not having to pay $300, $400, $500 to do this, because there is going to come a day when my boys can carry their own loads, and then I probably will not need that bag anymore. And so I didn't have to invest a ton of money into a bag to be able to have these memories and start creating these adventures with my kids. And so I appreciate that aspect in the design. That's me, that's my mileage. I look forward to hearing from you guys, particularly if you own the Glendale series. How has it been performing and holding up for you guys? Always appreciate your comments, feedback, any questions you have, I'll do my best to answer. Check out the other video popping up. If you're not yet a subscriber here, I invite you to subscribe so that you can be notified every week when I put up new videos just like this. And until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.